AI minds, quantum leaps. Cut the noise, dive deep. Truth unlocked. Dr. Mike on the mic. Tech Unfiltered is on the clock. Now it's time for the show.
Somewhere in Northern Virginia, one power line fell over, and refrigerators in Chicago made a noise about it. That's the whole show right there. But stick around because the why is genuinely wild. Here's the deal. On July 22nd of this year, 2026, Reuters reported that a transmission line went out of service in Northern Virginia, which, if you didn't know, is the largest concentration of data centers on planet Earth. Dominion Energy said the data center's control systems looked at that little hiccup, said, "No thank you," disconnected from the grid, and flipped over to backup power. PJM Interconnection, the outfit that runs the bulk power system for something like 67 million people from Washington, D.C. all the way out to Chicago, watched more than 3 gigawatts of demand just evaporate. That's roughly 3% of everything they were serving at that moment. 3% sounds small, right? It's not small. TechCrunch went back through the operating data a few days later and laid out the sequence. About 3.1 gigawatts of load vanished in roughly 30 seconds. Then more went. At the worst moment, the grid had something like 3.49 gigawatts more electricity than anybody still needed. And it took about 11 minutes to settle back down. 11 minutes. In grid time, that's an eternity. No blackout, nobody died. PJM said reliability was fine. But lights flickered across the region. And a company called Ting Labs, which has a network of plug-in electrical sensors in people's houses, told Reuters their customers reported flickering lights and weird noises out of the air conditioners and the fridges. Their sensors picked up voltage disturbances stretching all the way to Chicago. So why does that happen? Teacher mode. Stay with me. A power grid has to keep supply and demand balanced almost perfectly, all the time, forever. Think of it like a guy carrying a tray of drinks. Now imagine somebody yanks half the glasses off the tray without warning. He doesn't just relax, he goes flying backward, right? That's what happened. The fault caused a voltage dip. Every one of those data centers is built to protect stupendously expensive servers and cooling gear. So their protection logic went, whoa, and jumped to backup. Individually, correct call, collectively. They all did it at basically the same instant, and the power plants were still cranking out electricity for customers who had left the building. And here's my actual hot take. This wasn't a machine uprising. The AI didn't attack the grid. This is a coordination problem. Every single one of those buildings did the smart thing, and the sum of all the smart things was dumb. That's everybody running for the same exit. And it's not a fluke. Back in July of 2024, in the same region, roughly 60 data centers dropped off nearly simultaneously and took about 1.5 gigawatts of demand with them. This new one was about twice that. A Harvard Belfer Center analysis this year points at that earlier event as evidence that concentrated synchronized data centers create a genuinely new operational risk. And the load is growing. TechCrunch, citing Synapse Energy Economics, says data centers were about 6% of PJM's load in 2024 and could hit about 24% by 2040. But the Associated Press reported in June that data centers are already about 5% of all US electricity demand, could triple that share by 2035, and there are more than 4,000 of them running, with roughly 3,000 more planned or under construction. So, what actually fixes it? 3 things. 1, sequencing. An engineer at Ontario's grid operator told TechCrunch that neighboring giant loads need a way to disconnect and reconnect one after another instead of all at once. Kindergarten rules, gigawatt stakes. 2, ride through. Batteries and power conversion gear that let a campus absorb a sag or a spike so it keeps looking like a nice, boring, predictable load. A company called ON.Energy says it's installing 3 gigawatts of that stuff at 4 campuses, and that's their claim, not verified performance data. 3, rules. The Texas grid operator plans to require big loads to ride through disturbances. And federal regulators have told grid operators to speed up connecting these things while protecting reliability and keeping the bill off ratepayers, which is the real question for your house. Not, is there enough electricity? It's, can the grid handle the speed and who pays for the batteries? The cloud has breakers, folks. Questions, comments, concerns, bribes. I'll see you in the next one.